John Legend, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad that you're here. I feel like there's a lot of great things happening with you. How's everything?
It's good. I got an album out. The voice is starting back up. I'm going back to my residency in Vegas in October. A lot of good things happening.
Does that sometimes get overwhelming? Sometimes?
Not really. We pace it. There are times when it's very busy, but most of it's very manageable. I have plenty of time to spend with my family and plenty of time to relax and rest, and plenty of time to focus on what I love to do, which is making music.
How is that, making this album? It has 24 songs on it. How do you even select what songs even goes on this album?
So I was riding up a storm, especially last year before we started touring. And when we were still kind of on lockdown, you know, we were looking forward to things opening up as the vaccines were coming on, and you know, it felt like we were seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So we were writing, you know, with anticipation that we are going to be out soon,
right.
You know, things are going to be good. And eventually we kind of got to that place. But in the meantime, I had time to write, and we wrote so many songs. We wrote like 80-some songs for this album. And I narrowed it down to the 24 that I absolutely love the most. We organized them into 2 different acts. The first act I call my Saturday Night Act. Songs like All She Wanna Do. It's a little more up-tempo, sexy, fun. And then the second act is more mellow and introspective, more ballads, more romance, more, intimacy. And I think people will listen to it all the way through, but also listen to the different acts at different times to access different moods.
You know what I think is really interesting, that you were able to be creative during the pandemic? Because I, myself, just doing radio, I felt like I could not do anything, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I felt like it took a while because the first 6 months, you know, we were cooped up and we were really just scared. Like, we didn't know, like, if we could be around anybody. We were worried about just any kind of contact, and people didn't really know what the virus was going to do and how to avoid it. So I think we stayed cooped up for a while. I had just put an album out anyway. Bigger Love had just come out in June of 2020. And so I didn't need to create anything new right away. But eventually I was like, I need to write something. I can't go on the road. I want to do something musical. And so I started reaching out to different writers and producers, come to the studio. We masked up for the beginning.
Right.
And we just started creating. And some of the best records on this album, we started writing in masks, and sometimes we wrote on Zoom. We did whatever we needed to do, and we created.
At one point, were you over Zoom? Were you just like over it?
I'm still doing it, honestly, and sometimes it's better.
You think so? Why?
Well, like, we're doing so many interviews via Zoom now, and we used to have to travel to all these different countries, or you'd have to do them as phoners. And, you know, it's better doing it on Zoom than doing all that traveling, and it's better than doing all those phone interviews. Phone interviews, man. That just never needs to happen again.
Right. Well, because there's a delay. You can't necessarily hear the person.
You can't like relate to them because you can't see them.
Right.
It's just better to do it on Zoom.
At one point, were you just like, all right, I got to get out of this house? Like, was writing the songs like, I guess, your outlet? If that makes sense.
Well, our studio is in a separate house. It's like 15 minutes from where we live. So we own that house. Chrissy's office is there. She does all of her cookbook filming and photography there. And so it's our work house. It's our creative house. And it's, you know, away from the kids, so you can really focus on what you're working on at the time. And it's good. It's good to have a place to go to feel like you're going there specifically to be creative, specifically to get some work done.
That's interesting that you kept home at home and work at work.
Yes.
Did you feel like that was a hard thing to do?
It was important to do. Like, you need, I think, to make space for yourself creatively, I think it's good to be able to get away from, you know, just the everyday of being at home.
Well, you know what's interesting? I talk to a lot of artists, and sometimes I feel like they say the inspiration will hit like 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do in that situation?
That's what phones are for, voice memo.
Oh.
Yeah, so if I have an idea and it hits me random time, sometimes I'll wake up and I've dreamt a song, and I try to remember it and sing it into my phone right away.
Did you do a lot of cooking during the pandemic?
Oh yeah, we cooked and we ate. Oh yeah.
Because let me tell
I put on
you,
some weight.
I made the John Legend fried chicken with the honey butter hot sauce.
Yes.
I made it in the air fryer though.
Oh, okay.
And it was popping.
Oh yeah, that's a good flavor.
It was really good. I never tried the because I did the Kahlua too.
Oh yeah.
And the honey butter. What?
Cholula, yeah.
Yeah, Cholula, yeah.
Kahlua is different.
Yeah, you know what I mean. The hot sauce. And I saw that video of you making greens with your grandmother,
Yes.
which was dope. I always try to make greens with my grandmother, but it always ends up with her telling me to get out the kitchen, move out the way.
She just has her own vibe. She just passed away in early 2021.
So sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay. She lived a wonderful life. She lived into her 90s. And she just gave so much energy to our family and was such a matriarch to our family. And, we knew that she was, nearing the end of her life. And we wanted to capture her on film, just telling stories, talking about her recipes. And I was so glad we did that with her before she passed.
It's interesting because I feel like you see that personality come through when you guys are together.
Yes.
Making them greens.
She was so talkative. She has so many stories to tell. And she truly was a matriarch. She remembered everybody's birthday, sent them a card and cash.
Ooh.
She would still send me like a $10 bill.
That's so dope.
I'm like, I'm fine. You don't have to send me no money. But she would send it to me. And it's crazy because after she passed away, my dad and his siblings, we just went through her house and tried to organize all her stuff, and they just found cash everywhere.
I don't know what it is. You know what it reminds me of? Remember the movie Soul Food where Big Mama hid the cash in the TV? That's exactly what it reminds me of.
That's what a lot of our elders were doing, for sure.
Absolutely. So let's talk about The Voice right quick. How excited is it to even just be a part of that show?
I love doing the show. This is my 7th season, and they keep asking me to come back, and I keep saying yes. And what I love about it is, one, it's just a fun show to make. We have great fellow coaches. Blake is hilarious, and we've had, Kelly Clarkson, Gwen, Nick Jonas, Adam was there at the beginning. And so we've had so many great, fun people to be around. And now we have Camila Cabello there. And so I think the rotating cast of coaches keeps bringing new energy into the show. And then the highlight of it for me is working with these young artists. They're so inspiring. And to see them have that hunger and that just exceptional talent and get to work with them and advise them based on what I've learned in this business is so much fun for me.
So my co-host loves the song Wonder Woman.
Yes.
It almost sounds like an ode to Chrissy a little bit.
Yes, and I think each of us, because it was written as a co-write with a few other guys, and each of us were thinking of not just our partners, but our mothers and our grandmothers too. And I think it's that kind of song you can dedicate it to, especially to your mothers and grandmothers that, help shape your lives and sacrifice so much for you. And just watching my wife, carry our children and be such a great mother, I'm just in awe of her and what it takes to be a great mother. And I think that song is honoring especially the mothers and grandmothers in our lives.
How did they feel when they, I guess, heard that song was honoring them?
Well, I think, you feel like you appreciate it, and a lot of times I think, especially moms do a lot that they don't feel like they get the recognition for and feel the appreciation for. And we take it for granted, that they're going to be there for us. And I think it's good to every once in a while, say, we appreciate you and we honor what you do.
Absolutely. Tell me about All She Wanna Do.
All She Wanna Do.
Yes.
It's our big single right now, and it's so fun having the song out in the world. We've been playing it live, actually, since I started my residency in Vegas. And it's fun, playing a new song, but it's always risky, because the song wasn't out in the world yet, and I was just playing it live, and people were hearing it fresh for the first time at the show. And it was a great way to test the song out because it just lit the room up. The energy just came up a notch whenever I played it, and it was instantly loved by the fans as they were there. And so it just let us know, oh, we got a winner here. And it's so cool to see it doing so well all around the country and around the world. And we're having fun with the song.
To this day, do you feel like you still get nervous when you put out an album or no?
I think nervous isn't the exact word, but I do just not know what's going to happen. And you wonder how it's going to be received. You wonder if they're going to love it and feel the intention and the care that you put into it. You wonder if they're going to feel that and appreciate that. And then you don't know which songs are going to blow up. You have a sense, you think, oh, this one's going to be a winner. And some of the songs I put out that I thought were going to be winners weren't. And then some of them have exceeded my expectations. And so it's always interesting to see that, the audience has a say in all this.
Right.
They decide which songs blow up. You may have your own opinions, and the label and you may have a plan, but sometimes you have to be responsive to what the audience is saying. And I think this era is interesting for that because you have so many ways of knowing what people like now. You can tell off of,
TikTok.
Social media. What's getting traction on TikTok and Instagram. You can tell just by looking at the streaming data which songs they're playing more, and that helps you make future decisions. But you still got to make some decisions before you put it out, because before there's anything else out, you're putting out a single or two. Mm-hmm. So you just got to take a bet and hope it works. But after that, once the album's out, you really can see what people are gravitating toward, and that's going to inform the decisions we make from now on about what the next single's going to be and all that.
I was about to say, does that dictate the next single?
Yeah, it does. You listen to the people. Yeah.
Do you still take it personal, or ever took it personal? With what, like,
you mean
let's say,
feedback you get?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, honestly, I've been very fortunate. I get a lot of positive feedback. The fans, critics, like I've gotten a lot of awards. Like everything's been pretty good. But I always get bad reviews too, you know? And sometimes I'll get mad, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like this person gets me. And so when the feedback's negative in that sense, I'm like, well, he just or she doesn't understand what I was trying to accomplish, and they don't seem to be engaging it in a sincere way. So I just kind of write it off. But sometimes I'll get reviews that aren't so complimentary that I respect still, because I feel like they at least engaged the material and took it seriously. And then if they don't love it, that's their opinion.
Absolutely. What is on, I guess, the verge for you next? Like, what are you working on next? I know you got the album.
Well, we're doing one more set of shows in Vegas in October, and then we're thinking about what the tour is going to look like in 2023. And so we hope to get to many places around the world to play this new music. It's interesting touring now because I have such a catalog now, and people still want to hear those songs, but you have the new songs. So it's interesting thinking about the set list and how much balance you want to have between the old and the new. And so that'll be fun to think about and plan out and produce and do all the things we need to do for that show. And that's what I'm going to focus on, is continuing to play this music out in the world, and then sooner or later I'll start working on the next project. I like to keep it moving.
Absolutely. Keep it moving and keep working.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
My pleasure. Great to be here.